In this video, I'm just going to show you a few basic Photoshop shortcuts just to help you speed up your workflow process. What I'm going to do is open this image up here in CS4. There's borders at the side of the screen because I'm using a 15-inch MacBook Pro and the aspect ratio for the screen doesn't quite match the aspect ratio for the video window. First of all, I'm going to show you the main tools that I use, and normally I'd select the tools from the left-hand side here, but I'm going to show you the shortcuts for doing these instead, which makes it a bit quicker. The three tools I use the most are the clone tool, the crop tool and the brush tool, so I'm going to show you how to select those with the keyboard. To select between those, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push S for the clone stamp tool, and I'm going to push C for the crop tool, and lastly I'm going to push B for the brush tool. And as you can see there, the cursor was changing as I was selecting between those. The clone stamp tool and the brush tool look very similar. They're just separated at the moment by different size brushes, but they are changing. You can see from the left hand side tool palette there. So now we're on the brush tool, we're going to change the brush size. Normally you go to this box and you go left for a smaller brush, or you'd go right for a bigger brush. And you can also change the brush hardness at the bottom slider here, going right for a harder brush and left for a softer brush. But what we're going to do is use the keyboard shortcuts. So we're going to use the right hand side square bracket to increase the brush size, and you can see it's going up bigger there. You can see the little brush window is saying I'm at 1200 pixels, and I'm going to use the left hand side square bracket to make the brush smaller like that. And what I can also do is hold down the shift key and use those square brackets to increase the hardness and the softness of the brush. So if you look at the little brush window there, you can see that the diagram is showing me a hard defined edge and a softer edge as I do that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is make the image bigger, and rather than go down and select the zoom tool here, we're going to use the keyboard shortcuts. You can actually press Z to select the zoom tool, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Command and plus to zoom into the image, or Control and plus if you're using a PC instead of a Mac, and Command and minus to zoom back out, and again Control and minus on a PC. So now I've zoomed in 100% on the image, and what I want to do is move around it and have a look around different sections. So I want to use the hand tool, but rather than select it from the tool palette, I just hold down the space bar and that will give me the hand tool. So now I can just drag and move around the image wherever I need to go. The nice thing about using the space bar is, as you can see, I've got the hand tool selected at the moment because the space bar is still held down. But as soon as I let go of the space bar, it'll jump back to the previous tool that was selected, which in this case is the brush tool. So if you just hold down space and let go, it'll jump backwards and forwards between the hand tool and whatever the previous tool used. So I'm just making the brush tool a bit smaller, and I'll just paint along the edge here of the bird just to show you a reason why using the space bar is good. I paint along and I reach the bottom of the canvas. I can hold down the space bar and I can just drag the picture up, let go of the space bar, and the cursor is exactly where I left it with the brush tool still selected, so I can just carry on painting. So it just makes things nice and easy, and it saves you going backwards and forwards to the tool palette, and it just helps you speed things up basically. So now what I need to do is undo the brush strokes that I've just put on the image, because I obviously don't want to keep them. So we go up here to the edit menu, and you can see I've got undo brush tool and step backwards. Undo brush tool, what that is basically going to do is just undo the last thing I did to the image, which in this case was use the paintbrush. So what I want to do is actually use step backwards, because I did more than one brush stroke on the image, and the menu's got the shortcut down there for you. As you can see, it's Alt, Command and Z. If we just go over to the history palette quickly, I'm just going to show you what Command and Z would do, which would just be undo the last selection. If you see here, if I push Command and Z and keep pushing it, it's just going to do undo the last brush tool and put the last brush tool back. If I use Alt, Command and Z, you can see I can keep pushing Z and it'll take away everything that I've done. And just to demonstrate that a bit better, if I put multiple brush strokes on the image, and I'll do Command and Z, and if I just keep pushing Z with Command held down, you can see it's just removing and replacing the last brush stroke. So I'll do Alt, Command and Z, and as I keep pushing Z, it's going back through the history and removing all the brush strokes. So I'm going to zoom back out of the image now, and I'm going to show you another reason why using the keyboard shortcuts is handy. You can actually use multiple tools together, which you normally wouldn't be able to use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the crop tool by pushing C, and I'm going to crop part of the image like this. Before I confirm the crop, what I want to do is zoom back out of the image and make sure that I've got the framing right. So if I go down to select the zoom tool, this window will pop up, and basically it's not going to let me do any zooming until I've cropped the image or cancelled the crop selection. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut for zooming, which was Command and plus, and I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to hold down the space bar, and now as you can see I can drag around the image and see my crop selection still in place, and I can make it a bit bigger like this, and basically I can now zoom around the image and do whatever I need before I confirm my crop selection. So I'm going to crop the image about there, I think, and I'm going to hit enter, and that's confirmed my selection. And then looking at it, no, I don't like that actually, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Alt, Command and Z, and that's going to undo the crop and get me back to where I started. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you is hiding your tool palettes and cycling through the various screen modes. So to hide your tool palettes, you simply have to press the Tab key, and that will hide them, and push it again and it will get them back, as you can see here. And also you'll be able to see that on the Mac you can see your desktop in the background as standard, rather than the dark grey background that you get on a PC. So to get a background on the image, what I'm going to do is push the F key, and then if I push it a second time, it's going to give me a nice black background, as you can see here. The black background even removes the toolbar at the top, as you can see. Both views remove the window from the image, so you can zoom around and you can move the image around, and there's no distractions whatsoever. There's no scroll bars on the sides of the image, etc., which is really nice. So it's a nice clear view of your shot. If you move the cursor to the left of the screen or to the right of the screen, you can still get access to your tool menus and palettes as well, which is really nice. I really like these uncluttered backgrounds. I use them quite a lot. You can see the image looks really nice on black, and it's just nice to be able to zoom in and move around the image without any distractions, I find. So they're definitely views that I use quite often. Right, we're going to push F again and get back to the beginning, and Tab to get the toolbars back, and we're done. Before I end the video, I'm just going to very quickly go back through the main points that I've showed you. So they were, you can push S to select the clone stamp tool, you can press C to select the crop tool, and you can press B for the brush tool. To adjust your brush size, we use the square brackets, right hand side for bigger, left hand side for smaller, and if we hold down the shift key and use the square brackets, we can adjust the brush hardness. Command and plus and minus on a Mac lets you zoom in and out of the image, and Control and plus and minus on a PC will do the same thing. And the Tab key will hide and show your palettes. Push it once to hide them and again to show them. The F key will cycle through your backgrounds from standard to grey to black, and you can use the Tab key in conjunction with that as well. And lastly, use the spacebar for your hand tool. So hold the spacebar down and you can drag your image around the screen. And that's it for this video. I hope you found it of some use. Definitely try and get your head around using shortcuts when you're in Photoshop, because even the most basic ones will speed your editing up no end if you're editing loads of shots at a time. So give it a go and see how you get on.